Joining me now on the Daily Ledger Page 5 beat from Nashville, Tennessee, economic analyst, hedge fund manager, and contributor to Forbes and other publications, Thomas Landstreet. Tom, the danger is in the debt. And this is nothing new, but it's both public and private debt that we're worried about right now. Let's look at the public side first. We have the Federal Reserve out there saying, hey, we're going to continue to pump money into the markets right now, a new form of quantitative easing. They pump into the repo markets. Here's a silly question that I hope you can answer. I think I know the answer to it, and that is, where does the Fed get the money to pump it in? I do believe the answer is they just effectively print it up. Is that correct?
Graham, they print it. This is new money, newly created money. That's right. They don't take it out of circulation. So the market crisis is very much related to the amount of debt that we have. You and I have talked about this for a year. Hopefully your viewers have benefited from it because we were sounding the alarm, and coronavirus is not the problem. It probably will blow over come May, warm weather. It may revisit us in the fall. This is not that. This is debt. It's 60% of NASDAQ companies have junk bond rated debt. Many of these companies are not profitable. They're not just in the oil patch. 10% of high yield debt is in the oil patch. They're everywhere. They're all over the consumer area of the economy. So this is just, this panic has to do with the amount of debt out there. We're going to see downgrades, ratings downgrades, and we're going to see defaults.
So there's the public debt and there's the private debt. The bond yields right now, the 10-year is down, getting close to zero. I don't know if we're going to have negative interest rates or not, but that's not a very good sign. In essence, this is the bond market saying, hey, they don't have a heck of a lot of confidence in the Fed, right?
If people are going to just own something that's not going to go down, and that chases them to the Treasury market. I will tell you this, if you look at banks, the money center banks, the big banks, if you look at their balance sheets, Graham, they're stuffed with treasuries. They're at all-time highs and rising. Why are those big banks loading up on treasuries? Besides the fact, by the way, that the Treasury is issuing a record amount of securities to fund the budget deficit, why are they loading up? And you know why I think it is? Because they're front-running greater Fed action, where the Fed can now buy more treasuries, and they will continue to buy treasuries. They may set an interest rate cap, Graham. They may literally cap rates at 1% and make it official policy. Rosengren, one of the Fed governors on Friday, talked about expanding the Fed's mandate to where they can buy other things than treasuries. In other words, like stocks. My guess is these big banks are front-running a giant new buyer or giant extended buyer called the Fed in the Treasury markets, if that makes sense.
We're hooked. Unfortunately, our society, both in the public and the private sector, seems to be hooked on low interest rates and a lot of debt. And at some point, there's going to be a day of reckoning, certainly on the public side, and maybe we're seeing it right now in the private sector. Thomas, thank you.
Want to see more videos like this? Click on the link below and subscribe to One America News on YouTube, and call your cable provider and kindly demand that One America News is added to your lineup. Call and subscribe today.